Yes, yes, yes. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 mindset shifts that you could take in your business. I don't know about you, but 2022 has been a series of get your trash together if you want to make it to 2023 and push at the same pace. So what were the 5 mindset shifts that I had to take? Well, if you give me a second, I would love to share them with you because this is the stuff that lights me up. Yes, I love me some business, but we can't have a good business without having our minds and hearts right. So let's get this party started, y'all. 5 mindset shifts to build a powerhouse brand. We could talk about strategy and funnels and content calendars. We could talk about all that stuff, and it does help your business. But, and this is a very big but, the number one thing that determines whether or not you'll reach your goals and get the sales you deserve is your mindset. And I know that it seems a little counterintuitive, but I have seen this again and again. When my mind was not in the right place, when I was focusing on the things that kept me stuck, when I was focusing on the things that didn't matter, when I was focusing on not hitting the goal, I did not hit the goal. So the minute I realized that part of growing a business is focus on the mindset, what are 5 key mindset shifts that you can use to build a powerhouse brand? Now, what we're going to dive into is realizing mindset shift number 1, when it comes to business, is that you are not behind. You are right where you need to be. I don't want somebody else to determine how you feel about your business. And I don't want somebody to say, if you've been in business this long, you should have this or have done that. That is somebody else's yardstick. That is somebody else's football field. That is somebody else's measuring tape. And what you need is to create your own and say, I am in the right place because I'm doing what I can with what I have. And I want you to trust that where you are right now is exactly what you meant to be doing all along. Where you are right now is preparing you for the thing that the future has, even if it doesn't feel good. And even if you feel a little lost, because I will tell you that when I was in law school, I was wildly unhappy. And then my husband asked, if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, I said, I want to be a photographer. And then the minute I became a photographer, I slowly realized that I had a knack, not just for being a creative, but to be a creator. I began creating businesses and other people were like, well, what are you doing? Because you are unqualified, unfunded, underconnected, to which I replied, I know, I have no business starting a business, and yet I did. So then I started being a business strategist for companies who would hire me to come in and say, this is going to be the growth plan. This is how we're going to build a brand. This is how you're going to market the brand. And then they would go and do that. But then I realized that I wasn't serving as many people as I felt I wanted to impact. So then I started creating courses. And then what I realized with courses was that people weren't finishing courses in the way that they could and the way that they should. And so then I was like, what could I do? Could I start a subscription where people come in, get the content, find accountability? And that is how I became a CEO of a SaaS company. Now, I understand that when we talk about you're not behind, it's actually the shift that you need to say, what I'm going through now is preparing me for the thing I want. Mindset shift number 2 is to start scrappy, because perfectionism will paralyze you, because perfection is just procrastination in disguise. I do not want you waiting for the perfect time to get started, because the perfect time to get started, it doesn't exist. There will always be difficulties. In fact, the sooner you start, the quicker you get to the difficulties, because the difficulties do not go away. Perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. There is no such thing as perfect, because what you think is perfect, I might think is mediocre. And what I think is perfect, you might think is mediocre. Because we know that to be true, we all have different tastes in what we think to be perfect. Why do we waste our time trying to serve somebody if we don't even know their version of perfect? The way that we get closer to taking action and growing our business is by doing. It is the action that leads to clarity. It is us saying, I am going to be okay taking imperfect action, because imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Oh, I feel like I need to say that again. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Do not have perfect thoughts, baby boo. I want you to have imperfect actions, because those actions are get you to where you want to go. Because the mistakes and lessons that I have learned along the way, the hardest moments, the darkest time, and the lowest valleys have always lifted me up to where I wanted to go. I could not be the next iteration of myself until I proved to myself that I could get up off the ground and keep moving. Mindset shift number 3 is that consistency is queen. Make no doubt, consistency ain't no king. She is a queen. Why? Because if you only learn one thing from this little conversation, is that consistency is central to your brand's success. I've said it in the beginning when I was a law school dropout. I said it when I was a new business owner and I didn't know which way was up. Taught it to other photographers as they built businesses. When I became a business strategist and other companies were hiring me to talk to their business, I said, if you can't be consistent, we're not going to win. You do not need more money in ads. You do not need a retargeting campaign. You do not need all this other stuff unless you're willing to be consistent, because the consistency is what makes everything else work in your favor. So running a business is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So if we can say it's going to take me a long time to get to where I want to go, then our only objective is to stay the course. You can rest, but please do not quit. It is the gaps in between your action that slow your success. The shorter the gaps come or become between your action through your consistency is when we start seeing big changes. So don't burn yourself out trying to do it all. I want you to be in control of your pace. You happen to it. It does not happen to you. When we walk around in life and saying, oh, it's happening to me, we become a victim. When we say, these are my parameters, I happen to it, we then prioritize our goals, we stay the course, and then we work on them consistently. Understanding, of course, we want to make more money. Of course, we want to move faster. Of course, we want to hit our goals and metrics. Of course, it will happen. It might not happen as fast as we want it, and that is okay. We need to trust the process. The process is not glamour catwalk, although we all could use a little catwalk in our life. Put on some music, catwalk in your room, catwalk in your apartment, but it is quite honestly one foot in front of the other. That's just it. Mindset step number 4, serve, don't sell. What does this mean? If we could think of our business as a service. Now, you could sell products, you could sell services, but think of it like your business itself is a service. You are in service of somebody who needs their problem solved by what you sell. Everybody is looking for a solution. If you are in business, your job is to be a solution. Your job is not to be cute. Your job is to be a solution. Your job isn't to be the most glamorous. Your job is to be the solution. The solution that works the fastest, that is the best, that has the most proof of concept. You're going to be in business a long time. The solution is what you sell. So if you focus on your customers' needs, not what you want, but if you focus on them, you solve their problems and fulfill their desires, everything starts changing. It is no longer how do I feel about this? It's does it help them? If it helps them, business changes, because business comes to you as a result of how good you are at solving the problem. Rounding it out with number 5, mindset shift number 5, people saying no has nothing to do with you. You must get used to people saying no. We say no all the time. Like just last night, like my husband's like, do you want this for dinner? I said, no, thank you. Would you like this to drink? No, thank you. Would you like to watch this? No, thank you. What about this book? No, thank you. Now, it was nothing against the food, the drink, the show, or the book. It just wasn't my time, which is fine. I've always believed that when I make an offer to somebody, if it's no now, it's just, let's wait and see. Because if it's a no now, it will be yes in the future. Why? I will continue to show up in a place of service until somebody says, this queen did not stop. And I finally believe that the solution that is being delivered will get me to where I want to go. So the sooner that I, and the sooner that you, and the sooner that we stop taking denial as a personal thing. When somebody says no, they're not saying no to me. They're saying no to the offer at that time. So if you know they're not saying no to you, and they're saying no to the offer, at least just right now, it could be a yes in the future. Well, then we need to put ourselves out there again and again and again. You show up consistently, you nurture your audience, you build trust. That is what this conversation is, quite honestly, what is happening right now. And it is only in that process. I did not say it was easy, and I likely did not say it was simple, but it is effective and it works. This is truly how you turn followers into customers. And I know it sounds easier. I'm like 5 mindset shifts and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. it perhaps sounds easier because the work is the work. It can be hard to show up consistently. It can be hard getting eyeballs on your business. And it can be very hard engaging and serving your audience when it feels like nobody's responding. When it feels like, Jasmine, you said it was gonna be the long game, but girl, I feel like this is the long game. Yeah, it is. And it feels much longer when you're doing it by yourself. So you need to know what to say, and you need to know how to say it. You need to overcome their objections. You need to answer their questions. You need to show what your business does. And if you have a personal brand attached to it, you need to show not just what your business does, but who you are and every reason they would say no. List every reason why somebody would say no to your offer. And then you must come up with answers to their objections. Overcome those objections. And people are like, I done run out of excuses. So you need to create an irresistible offer. And then you need to position it as the solution, the thing that they've been looking for, the last stubborn 5 pounds of belly fat, how to sleep train your kids, how to create the perfect protein shake for a diabetic, all of these things, all of them, irresistible offer, and then position it as the solution. So the first step is getting your mindset right. That's why we started off the conversation there. The next step is to have a foolproof sales plan. And this is where people are like, if I just post on social, then it will work for me. And I think that people have been seeing a distinct change in the way that it's happening on the back of social media. So this is where I want to say what was working for us in 2019 and was working for us in 2020 is not going to be the same efficacy and efficiency and effectiveness as it is in 2022. Things have changed, people have changed, the economy has changed, the world has changed. We must then respond to those changes. I have helped over 35,000 business owners take the mindset, turn it into action, and get sales. And so I offer this once a year, once every 10 months, once every 12 months. This is a course that I show up every year, and I am dedicated to moving the needle in people's business. The doors are closing on Friday to S.O.S selling on social. These are proven strategies for selling on social media, driving organic traffic, raising those engagement rates. If you purchase before October 21st, you are going to get 3 power-packed action bonuses. We want you not learning. We don't want you buying a course that you don't finish. Each of these lessons, 10 minutes action, 10 minutes action. You have all of the resources included in addition to 2 months of a subscription to Social Curator. So Alicia finished S.O.S and she started making over $1,000 in sales in 1 week. Y'all, jasminestart.com/get sales. Doors close October 21st at 2022. Yes, 2022. That is the year. All right, let's get into some live Q&A. And actually, that link was Jasmine Start Get Sales, and I'm pretty sure it should be, since we're just a day away. Let's go to startsellingonSocial.com. Like, if you want to join, let's get in now. Let's get those bonuses. Okay, Jen and Nicole, the thing that I consistently struggle with is my clients are children, but obviously I market to the parents. What's the secret recipe for that? None. Your product is for children, but who you're marketing to is to parents. There's no secret sauce. All you're doing is talking to parents. You're talking to parents about their pain point. You're talking to parents about what keeps them up at night about their children. You're talking to parents about how to live in the moments of joy. There is no moment wasted if spent in joy. This, to me, is a moment of joy. The fact that I get to connect with Jenna and Kathy and Chris and all the other people who are here right now, this is joy. Any moment spent in joy is not a wasted moment. What you need to do as a professional in business, understanding that what you sell is for children, but who you sell it to is adults. Your entire strategy should be, how do I position my offer in relation to their deepest desires? What does that parent struggle with? What does that parent want? What type of transformation? What type of parent does that parent want to be? Answer that. That is all of your content. And they're going to say, wow, this Jen and Nicole has transformed me as a person. I wonder what it would be like for my child. Or I wonder what I would be like for me to invest in her business as a shout out. Thank you for helping me in my life. That's it. That is business. It sounds simple. It takes work. The question is, will you work? That's what it boils down to. Kathy Penn, I did post consistently, but not much movement. Probably need to do live plus more stories. Funny though that I stopped posting in May, but still have the same amount of followers. Why? Are they bots? Okay, Kathy, let's break apart this question. That's actually 3 questions. Number 1, I did post consistently, but not much movement. Well, number 1, Kathy, my question is, what does consistency look like for you? And then how long were you consistent? I often, on the back of teaching a class like this or having this conversation, people are like, I'm ready to be consistent. And then they're consistent for 3 or 4 weeks and they're like, boop, 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 no movement. And I'm like, 3 or 4 weeks? If you were to go to the gym 3 times a week, because people say I'm consistent and then they post 2 or 3 times a week for 3 weeks for a total of 6 times in a matter of 7, 14, 21 days. And it's better than nothing, but you go to the gym 3 days a week and you don't change anything else. And you're like, I don't have a 6-pack. It doesn't work. And I'm like, it takes time. So number 1, what is your definition of consistently? Because I am here to tell you that when I say consistently, I'm not talking about a month or 2 months or 6 months. I am talking about what is the long game. Am I willing to show up in this capacity for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years? That's the conversation like we actually need to have. There is no magic pill. There is no like, what is this, like massive makeover? I cannot give you a tummy tuck for your Instagram. Speaking of tummy tucks for Instagram, that would be otherwise considered as a bot, right? I don't know if the people who are still on your account are bots, but here's what I do know. If you don't post for a while and the algorithm doesn't show your content, when you don't have your content shown, well, then what happens? People aren't like, you know who wasn't posted in 21 days? Kathy Penn Smith. That's who hasn't, but let me go and check out her account. People forget who they follow. So there's no reason to unfollow you if they're not really seeing the content, right? So that's another varied question. And then, funny though, I stopped posting in May. Are they bots? Probably need to do live and more stories. When you say probably, Kathy, what I want you to do is to ask yourself, am I willing to try new things? Because what got us here is not going to get us there. So what we need to do is enjoy the process of the work. Now, when I go to the gym, I actually heard on a podcast, like a health podcast, they had said, if you go and work out, if you go to the gym and you walk in and your thoughts and feelings feel like a sigh, I have to work out. All right, let's go. Versus flipping the script of saying, I know that when I work out, I feel better, I sleep better, and I get results. So I'm going to do something now that's going to benefit me. The emotion is still the same. Dang, coming to the gym is hard work. The impacts the overall workout and the effectiveness of the workout. Same emotion, different thought applied. We can do that. So this is what I'm inviting Kathy and Thelma and Jenna and Chris all to go through and do. Instead of saying, I'm going to do this for X and I'm going to try to do something that will yield results in the future. Same emotion, different thought applied. Okay, so Chris said, I run a service-based business, art and henna body art, while I also make jewelry. I promote the body art service under its own entity, while my art and jewelry are under my profile. Is that a correct method? Here's the good thing. We have seen very successful accounts sell a lot of different things, and we have seen very unsuccessful accounts sell a lot of different things. Here's my general rule of thumb without knowing exactly the art with the jewelry and the body art. I don't know all of those mechanisms. This is the general rule of thumb that I tell any business owner who's saying, I do multiple things. Should I have it all on one account? My advice has been and will likely remain, if one person has a high likelihood of buying everything you sell, if you have one customer for everything you sell, you can have it all in the same profile. So for example, if I was selling hair scrunchies, spandex pants, and oversized sweatshirts, if I thought that one customer would buy a scrunchie, a sweatshirt, and spandex pants, I could keep it all in that account. If I sold scrunchies, if I sold photography and website design, it's too much mixed messaging. So Chris, if you believe that the person who would buy art would also buy your body art, then you can keep it on that one account. I do think that it is a good idea to separate your art from your jewelry, because there's a good chance that there's not as much of a crossover for the customer. Now, this is where people say, but they could buy the jewelry and also the art. Yes, but if it is not a high likelihood, what you do is you confuse the audience. They don't know why they're following your account based on what it is you sell. I hope that helps. Okay. Thelma said, can I do this on my smartphone because I don't have a laptop? I've been in other courses where I find out too late that I need a laptop. I just don't want to sign up and find out I can't do the course. You can absolutely do the course on mobile. Let's get it. Jinta Puke, will there also be teaching about how to create plans for a whole month of an Instagram feed so that it would look beautiful? Currently, I have mush mash. Okay, so let me first answer the biggest question here. I want a beautiful feed. That's essentially what she's saying. I want a beautiful feed, and that's great. But I am here to tell you that beautiful feeds don't move the needle in your business. They could help, but first we need to determine what your dream customer wants to see. And maybe, Jinta, you know your customer is like, my customer wants to see a beautiful feed. There was a time in my business and in my life that my customer wanted to see a beautiful feed. I was selling high-end luxury photography. My feed had to look like a magazine. If you go to my Instagram account right now, it is fugly. It is not pretty. But I know that what I want to drive is engagement and personal connection. That is 100% what I'm selling. What I'm selling is knowledge, experience, and accessibility. And in order to sell that, it is less important for it to be pretty and way more important to be real. But perhaps, Ginta, you know, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm saying your name wrong. It's Ginta. Ginta, my apologies, is we do have a plan. When you join Social Curator, you get access to, when you join S.O.S selling on social, you get access to Social Curator for 2 months. There we have a way for you to create drafts and pre-schedule and auto post to Instagram. You can look at your drafts and say, okay, this is what's going to happen for me in the next month. This is what's going to happen for me. I have an idea. Okay, great. That's fine. But I am saying that a beautiful feed must first be determined not by your preference and not by your business preference. Your feed must be determined by understanding who you're marketing to, because people value different things. I would never say everybody should have a beautiful Instagram feed so it feels like a magazine, it feels like a museum, it feels like you're walking down a runway. Everything's stunning. I would never say that, because sometimes a customer looks at that and says, beautiful, not for me. Beautiful, I'm not looking for that. We must first know who we're serving. And this is what we do in module 1. Module 1 is about, the whole thing is, who are you selling to? And this is where people, I get frustrated. I don't know, my business is for everybody. No, we have workbooks to keep and exercises to keep everybody accountable. I do private coaching in our private community for 2 months to say, what are your pressure points? Let's go. If we don't know who we are specifically selling to, we're gonna have a hard time staying in business. I had a conversation at 8 p.m. last night with a woman who is an investor. I am an entirely bootstrapped company. I have not taken a loan. My husband and I have bootstrapped every company that we've ever had. Every dollar of our personal money has gone into building businesses. But she had said, based on a statistic that I had told her yesterday, I had seen that women get 2%, 2.1% of venture capital for their businesses. And that was last year's stat. And this year's stat, women were getting 1.89. We're going backwards. And small business owners are being so heavily affected right now. And it weighs on me. Like, I mean, gosh, it's like, oh, this is the hill I want to die on. I want to have business owners, even if they say it's a side hustle. What I want is for people to have a way to make money, because money is a passport. Money gives women power. Money gives women optionality. Money gives women decisions. You don't need money to be successful, but money gives you options. And that's why I price out a course for $197 when I know we could charge a lot more. That's why I include 2 months of social curator, because I don't want somebody going through a course and learning more, but not doing anymore. This is a thing that I'm just like, I am hell-bent on moving the needle for the next 2 months. This puts us in the middle of December. In the middle of December, we need to have a clear plan of what 2023 looks like, because if we do not, it will eat us up alive. That's why I'm out here on Thursday morning letting you know that the doors close tomorrow on Friday. Amanda, I'm multi-passionate entrepreneur struggling to choose which one idea to move forward with, because I too don't want to confuse my audience. I know I can be successful with the help of your course, but I don't know which business to choose. Help, thoughts. Oh, Amanda, and anybody else right now, anybody else who right now is struggling and putting the pressure on themselves to say, I must choose one and it must be right. The one will choose you. What I suggest you do is what Gary Vaynerchuk calls tasting. Taste. You're good at a lot of stuff. You love a lot of stuff, and you can help a lot of people. But not everything you love and you're good at will make you money. That's just a fact of life. So before we do that, why not step into a place of power and start creating content with a strategy, with consistency, and see what content pops. On Monday, I taught a 1-hour live class, and a woman came on and she's like, I teach about this, but my audience keep on asking me about that. And I'm like, wait, why are you not building an offer for that? She's like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't really feel like it's a good fit for me. And I'm like, okay, well, you're struggling to sell this and people are asking you for that. Could you not possibly find a way to make this work for you? But the beauty about her situation that's different than your situation at this point in time is that she has an audience who's saying and asking, what about this? What about this? And until you start getting feedback from your audience, I suggest you remove all pressure from picking the one and being like, this is it. I go all in. I love that. You will get there. But I feel you're going to feel a lot safer and better and secure in that decision once you have put out content with a strategy and say, every Monday I'm posting about this, and every Tuesday about this, and every Thursday. And then you just see, because a lot of times people have an opinion about the system. They're like, that's just too formulaic for me. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, what I love to do is give people a system and then say, break the system. But the problem is people have an opinion about the system without using the system, and then they leave with inaction. So what I say is, here is a system to try. Here are a clean way for you to show up 7 days a week if you so choose. I do not think that you must do that. I think that consistency helps. But you choose your pace, you choose your system, and then all you have to do is show up and your audience will speak to you. That is how you feel a lot more confident choosing something to go all in with. Friends, I, 1 minute, have to leave to pick up Social Curator's COO. We have a full day of meetings. She flew in from Montana, getting a little bit of California love. Send us good light, good love, lots of decisions and action. It is a big, scary world. And I am honored to be able to wake up, have a conversation to say, I too know what the struggle is. I too know how difficult it is to balance motherhood, running a business, having a life partner, having a business partner. I know all of those things, but I am choosing to believe that the struggles that I am going through today are preparing me for who I'm intended to be in the future. If you want to hold that intention with me today, I invite you to do that. If you would like to continue on with that intention for the next 2 months throughout S.O.S. Selling on Social, the doors close on Friday. Start selling on social.com. Much love, much gratitude, blessings. Bye, y'all.